Hey guys, welcome to my brand new living room here, and this is my new TV, the Sony Bravia 7. So in this video, I want to talk about why I chose this TV that I've been using for about the past week and a half now, and I want to talk about who this TV would be ideal for, as well as who might be better off selecting a different TV. We'll also talk about some of my findings after using this for the past week and a half, and I think for me personally, kind of as a summary, I really like this TV. I think it's kind of a sweet spot between the ultra flagship Bravia 8 and Bravia 9 and the more budget-friendly Bravia 3. So for me, I'm always, maybe it's just me, I don't know. I'm always a pretty big fan of like the S23 Plus or like the, kind of the middle phones that give you a lot of the flagship specs. Like we've got the XR processor on here. We have a lot of Sony's cutting-edge tech. This is a brand new 4K 2024 TV, but you're not paying those ultra premium prices. So starting off with the sizing and the pricing of this TV, it comes in 4 different sizes, the smallest one being 55 inches. There's also a 65, a 75 inch, which is what this one is right here. It's pretty gigantic. And of course an 85 inch TV as well. So really a big spectrum right there. And as far as the pricing goes, for the same price as a 65 inch Bravia 8, you're able to get a 75 inch Bravia 7. And the Bravia 7 is mini LED, so you're getting a really great display with incredibly bright, like it's obviously a very bright display, and also vibrant colors on here. And even though it's not an OLED, I think a lot of people kind of assume that if you get a mini LED, you're going to have like a lot of blooming and like really bad blacks on there. But realistically, in my opinion, you get a great picture. It works, fantastic in a bright room, unlike an OLED, and you're still getting a lot of really great darks on here because the whole industry has really been progressing, giving you not only more backlight zones, but also better backlight control. So the pricing on this one ranges from $18.99 to $34.99. It is by no means a cheap TV, but I did find that there are already some sales, even though it's a very new TV. I'll link those down below. You might be seeing $100 to $300 off, maybe even more. They are affiliate links down below, so if you appreciate the video, feel free to go through them. Otherwise, just go directly to like your local Best Buy or something, see if they have any local sales there, because realistically, I think this is a TV that you probably don't want to pay MSRP for. If you did, I don't think you'll regret it. It's a great TV, but you could potentially find some sales. So let's talk about setup with this TV. When I first got this TV, unboxing, super easy. I didn't actually take a video of that. I think you've probably seen a couple of videos of TV unboxing in the past, but basically there's no assembly required other than putting the feet on. You don't have to put any back panels on or anything like that. Like it's just ready to go. You take the cardboard off, you peel a couple stickers off, you snap the feet in, and your TV is just, it's ready to watch. There are 4 different ways you can set up the stand. So the feet are like really nice, flat, strong metal. You can set it up wide or narrow. So if you have a smaller TV stand, that's kind of a newer thing here, this will still fit on them. I went with the wide one and I put it on the higher level so my soundbar can sit right in the middle there. I think it looks really nice, and it also kind of just straddles it in a very logical way. Everything syncs up really easily as well, so I do have a soundbar. You could use the default speakers on here, and I'll get into a test in that later. The remote that it comes with by default is not the premium remote, so kind of my first complaint here is that if you get the regular remote, you have to use, typical batteries on here. I believe they're AAA batteries. They are included, which is nice, but like it's not USB Type-C rechargeable. There's also no backlight on here, and if you lose it, there's no finding feature. All 3 of those you can get with the premium remote. I don't have that. I kind of wish they would just include it for a more expensive TV of this caliber. It would be nice to have that kind of included in the box. As far as the TV itself goes, the build quality and everything else, I think that the build quality is fantastic. It feels like such a premium TV. On the back, you have a pretty sturdy plastic. We have metal on the feet and the frame of this. And as you can see right here, the borders all the way around are very, very thin. There's not a lot of branding on here, no big Sony logos or anything. And you could also mount this on the wall very easily, which, by the way, if you want to mount it on the wall, we have 4 screws on the back, and it comes with little extenders. This TV, the 75-inch model, is not particularly light. I would say maybe it's light for a 75-inch TV. I don't know, but 84 pounds is what mine's weighing right here. And this is something that I would recommend if you're setting it up. Definitely have a friend help you. I set this up alone, and it was like, it's not easy, right? And as far as the ports go, on the right side, we have our power. It plugs in a little like 90-degree angle thing, and the cable, I mean, Sony does a pretty good job of thinking of pretty much everything. The cable easily reaches either side of the TV. We also have a bunch of different ports on the left side. So coaxial is going to be great for antenna or cable. We have a remote port. We have an extension for an IR blaster if your TV's in a weird spot. We have LAN. We have 4K 120 HDMI. Actually, we have 4 HDMI ports. One of them's 4K 120. Two of them are standard, and the fourth one is your eARC 4K 120 HDMI, which is going to plug into like your soundbar, for example, and it works with other non-Sony soundbars as well, although the Sony one is what I have set up here. We also have digital audio out and two USB Type-A ports. Personally, I wish we had USB Type-C on here. I know a lot of TVs don't have that. It's not really something you ever see, but I think in the future, like, we already have USB Type-A, just give us a Type-C. It'd be useful for plugging in like other devices, but to be fair, you don't have to plug in a laptop or a phone. You can cast very easily, as we'll talk about when we get into the interface. But speaking of watching this, Sony does upscale a lot of stuff, and they do a great job with their XR processor. So one thing that I like to watch personally is Tableau. So that kind of brings me to the sponsor of today's video, which is Best Buy, where you can buy the Tableau or this TV or literally anything I'm talking about on this channel like ever. But Tableau is a really cool software and hardware kind of setup. So this is the 4th gen Tableau. It's $139 using the link down below, and there are 4 really cool things you can do with this. You get this little Tableau device and you connect it to an antenna. I already have an antenna. It's like you can buy one for $40 or up to, a couple $100 at the most, and you're able to get obviously like free TV off the air. But what Tableau does, which I think is really cool, one, it's going to be your signal amplifier, so you don't need to buy one of those separately. 2, it allows you to basically use it as a DVR. So if I go up on the top to live, I can see what's on TV. So the third thing here is it does act as a full guide. It tells you what's on every single channel, even though it's just antenna, which is pretty incredible that you're able to do that. So like if I really wanted to watch Storage Wars, which is either on now or maybe I want to watch the one later, I can open that, I can record the episode, and I could watch it later and fast forward through commercials. I could save it as long as I want because it's 128 gigabytes on here, and there is expandable storage as well. And this connects to your local internet network by either Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and you can watch on any device in your house. This could be your TV, your phone, your iPad, whatever, and you can watch either live TV or the recordings all streamed through this local device. And if we go back, you can actually go and see everything that I already did record. So this would be great for live sports or movies or whatever's on the air. You don't have to pay for a subscription or anything. It's all on device. It's really a cool thing to have that, it's like a one-time investment and you can use it forever and watch free TV on the air. But of course, the XR processor also does support Dolby Vision on here and Atmos. We have IMAX enhanced and we have DTS support as well. So if you're watching the right apps on here, you're able to really get a great experience. The most obvious app is going to be Sony Pictures Core, previously called Bravia Pictures Core or Bravia. Now it's Sony Pictures Core. You get 5 credits with the TV when you buy it. So you can watch like IMAX enhanced videos, Dolby Atmos, some really optimized content for this TV. But you can also watch some optimized content natively on Amazon Prime Video, and it is actually adaptive customized over on Netflix. I don't have Netflix anymore. I got kicked off because I was on my parents' account, and Netflix kind of cracked down on that. But Prime Video works just fine. I watch that quite a bit. And obviously, this is running Google TV, so you can get a ton of different apps on here. Pretty great experience on Google TV in general, although sometimes it does have some weird picks for me. For some reason, it's suggesting like Rugrats, or the other day it suggested Bluey. I don't have a child. I don't watch children's shows, so I'm not sure why it's recommending those. Maybe it just hasn't like learned my preferences that well. Maybe I'm on a different Google account than my other TV. But anyway, we have some other cool apps on here as well. So if we go down to your apps, one thing that I really like, I'm gonna put it back on for this video so you're not too distracted. But living decor is a big one. Of course, Sony has a ton of different things: media player, music, timers, and clock. I play Spotify in here all the time, but let's go to living decor. It'll just play some background as I continue to talk a little bit more about this TV. So talking about the display of this TV a little bit more, as you can see the brightness, like I'm filming, I have studio lights on me right now, and it's still like a very clearly visible TV. On the remote, if you hit the little like wrench icon on the bottom, you can go to the settings and you can see that's max brightness, but you can also turn it down if there's like, if it's a dark room and it's too bright for you, or if you're just trying to, turn on some eco settings, it will be dimmer. I like keeping it at max brightness anyway. I think it looks the best, in my opinion. This is a very bright TV, and being mini LED, that's kind of one of the main reasons you'd buy it. If you don't have total control over the brightness in your room, like you don't have blackout curtains, you're not in like a theater room. As far as the contrast and the color go, I think this is pretty fantastic. The backlight, we do have the XR backlight master drive on here. So again, there's a lot of dimming zones on here. And an example, if I go to Sony Pictures Core right here, I don't know if you can really see it. There's basically no there's really not a lot of blooming on here. There's definitely some blooming compared to like an OLED, for example, which doesn't have any, but all things considered, I think it looks really good. Like a lot of just fantastic control over that backlight. As far as the viewing angles, we can do a test right here and check out some different angles. I personally can't complain. I think it looks good. I think your biggest problem is going to be the glare if you have a window on the other side of the room. But as far as like how it breaks down when you're like watching from different angles, I don't know. For me, it doesn't bother me much. I know a lot of other people have complained about that a little bit with this TV, but you can see for yourself in this little kind of angle test how it works right there. As far as the color goes, once again, the XR processor does a lot, and because Sony's kind of like a full stack here, they are able to intelligently enhance essentially every single scene with real-time color, contrast, clarity, and so when I say full stack, maybe there's a little bit of Sony's marketing jargon, but I do think there's some merit to this, where they have, like, of course, Sony Pictures is making movies, right? You've got like Spider-Man and Ghostbusters, and they make a lot of different things. Then the same Sony company also makes the cameras that are used in those movies. Not all of them, but in a lot of those movies, I believe. And then they also make like this right here. They make the speakers, they make the TV. So Sony kind of does it all. And so their goal, or really their claim, is that they understand the director's intent, and there's some cross-pollination in the company that can give you like a better viewing experience on the TV. How much of that is true? I mean, like, obviously a lot of that could just be some marketing terminology, but I do think there's some merit to that, and I do think you're getting a great experience, especially if you're utilizing like Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, the IMAX enhanced capabilities on here, the DTS, XR motion clarity, a lot of really cool stuff that just makes it look better when you're watching stuff. But not just looking, also audio is pretty important. So a couple things I want to talk about here, really three things I want to talk about. One of them, we'll do a quick little test for the built-in speakers. You have some pretty high side-firing speakers. You have 4 total speakers on the TV itself. This has 4 speakers on it. 2 of them are high-firing from right up here. You can see the speaker right there. And the other 2 are down on the bottom. I have this first set to only use the speakers on the TV, so we'll see how that sounds at 50% volume. Honestly, it's pretty good. It's definitely not bad at all. But when you compare it to, as you'll hear in a second, an entire sound system, like, I just think it's absolutely worth it to at least get a cheap soundbar, if not a subwoofer as well. I think it just makes such a big difference. But let's hear what it sounds like there. Completely different. So much more bass, so much more full sounding. And like, it can get the job done, but if you're gonna make the investment on this TV, I would highly recommend at least getting a cheap, maybe like a $100, $200 soundbar at the bare minimum. I have the full system from like the Bravia home theater. This is the 9, the soundbar, and it's really nice. It makes a huge difference. I think it's really immersive. I'll make another video about that in the future, but the other 2 things, right? Okay, so one is the speaker test. The other 2 things I want to talk about with audio. Voice Zoom 3 is very impressive. So if there's a lot of stuff going on in a scene and somebody's talking using Sony's, I believe it's using AI or at least some type of machine learning there, they are able to focus in on the voice and make it more intelligible so you're able to understand what they're saying. And the third thing I want to talk about is the soundbar system. So you can set up acoustic center sync if you have the Sony soundbar. Of course, you could plug in any soundbar you want. It's going to be a great experience. But with Sony, when you're setting it up, you have their app, you turn your phone upside down and hold it where you're normally sitting. It plays some sound and it kind of, acoustic center sync's what they're calling it. And it really does feel like you are in a movie theater. Like, it's surround sound, it sounds incredible, and it's catered to the room that you're actually in. Talking a little bit more about the interface right here, this does have Apple AirPlay 2, and it does have Chromecast, both of which are built in, so casting from a phone or laptop, super easy to do. As you can see, if I just go back to home, we have a lot of different apps on here. As I talked about Tableau earlier, I use that one quite a bit. Sony Pictures Core, I really like that one personally. I watch a lot on there. But there's also a couple other things way over here. One of them, living decor. I think that's really cool to show like scenery on your wall, kind of utilize just instead of a large black screen. If you have a party, you can just have some, pictures kind of cycling through. And I think that's a cool thing to have. We've got notifications, timers and clock, music, media player, and a lot of other cool things that they kind of added in here, as well as an eco dashboard. If you go into eco mode, it is going to kind of knock down your brightness and overall your viewing experience. But you can see current power consumption at full bright, like maximum brightness right now, 124 watts. Not particularly bad, but let's get into a couple more tests right here. I want to do a Wi-Fi test as well as an Ethernet test to see what the internet speeds are actually like on this device. So the internet speed test here, we're getting 77.37 download. Not bad. We'll compare that in a second to my iMac, which is like 10 feet away in the same room. I'm pretty far from my router, so I think that's actually quite impressive. Compare that to my iMac, which is in the same room. You can see it's actually, the TV did really well. And by the way, I mentioned I recently built out this living room right here. I'll show you like a full tour a little bit later once it's done in a future video. But I've been trying to sit like right here so you can't see that. There's a line up there. I didn't paint the wall yet, so there's like some fresh drywall that's just the different color right there. But hopefully that wasn't too distracting in this video. So yeah, the Bravia 7. There's a lot I really like. I think you're going to love this TV if you get it. There's really very little to complain about. The only things I would complain about is that like the remote it comes with is not the premium remote, so you don't have the backlight, you don't have the finding feature, and it's not rechargeable. And the other drawback is that they don't have USB Type-C on the back, which again, most TVs really don't. I know some people, like I said, complained about the viewing angles. I haven't had a problem with that. I think it looks really great from all angles, and I think this TV is a pretty fantastic buy. However, it is definitely very expensive, so I would encourage you to shop around for deals. I'll put links down below, like I said, for the best deals I can find, and hopefully you can find this for a little bit less than the MSRP, which can be a little bit steep. The fact that we're already seeing sales, I think, does kind of endorse that thought right there, but I'm a big fan of the Sony Bravia 7. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think of it. And also, I know it's a sponsor, but like, let me know what you think about the Tableau. Like, I think it's a really cool thing. I don't know if everyone's gonna have a use case for that, but it was cool enough that like I've never seen it before, and it felt like it made sense in this video. I don't know. Let me know what you think of both of those down below. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.